Welcome to Mentor. I'm Rachel Forde.
And I'm Marco Bertozzi, and we are the founders of TheZoo.London, the consultant collective and executive search business.
And our podcast is all about sharing world-class wisdom from those who've been there and done it, and they are here to guide you. And today's guest, Marco, is a special one.
Yeah, we had Karen Blackett, very special guest, who is a pioneering business leader and transformational advocate for diversity, and someone that has been at the forefront of the advertising business for 30 years.
Yeah, incredible career that she has. And I think there's so many nuggets of what she came out with, but something that she learned from her dad, both parents from Barbados, was learn, earn and serve. So learn in your early career, then obviously earn, but then in later career serve. And I think actually that's something that Karen's done in the bucket load. She's you'll hear it from the bio, all the things she's done. Then the other one, which is my favourite, 2 ears, 1 mouth, which me and you, Marco, should listen to.
We're useless at that.
We hate that, but we try our best.
We do try.
Yeah.
And I think also that resonates in the sense that I don't always think I've done it brilliantly, but growing the circle around you and making sure it's got different voices in it and it's slightly more diverse than just everyone being the same. Again, it's creating your world to have more influences, and I think that's a good piece of advice for anyone sort of starting out in their career.
Yeah, and also just that, we talk about in the podcast mentors and sponsors of those people that can talk about you when you're not in the room, and you get that through them experiencing your work. So it's about putting your hand up, being a heads up person and really getting involved. And that is what, will drive your career. Sticking your hand up and saying, yeah, give it a go.
And she's done a lot of that.
She's done a lot of heads up. Hey, Marco, when you think of a great mentor, what words come to your mind?
I think smart, definitely, supportive, obviously wise and experienced for sure.
Yeah, I think the same really. And, someone knowledgeable who pushes your ideas beyond your first ideas.
That's why we chose Viral Tribe, because they've helped us on our podcasting journey.
Yeah, you could say they've been our podcasting mentors, couldn't you?
They most definitely
have been our ultimate support system, helping us with creative ideas, production, and with state-of-the-art studios like we're in today in the heart of Soho, London. They're not just brilliant at what they do, but they make the whole process seamless and stress-free.
And they work with some of the biggest creators, producers and brands, making everything from chart-topping shows to branded entertainment.
So if you're thinking about launching a video, an audio, a live podcast, make Viral Tribe your podcasting mentor.
Drop them a line at hello@viraltribe.co.uk, and if you quote mentor, they'll give you 20% off your first 3 bookings.
So what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
So I think we should let Karen in, shouldn't we?
Come on in, Karen.
Today, we are delighted to welcome Karen Blackett. Karen is a pioneering business leader and transformative advocate for diversity. And hot off the press, I've even got her most recent bio out here because Karen does not sit still. So I'm going to read a little bit of this. I hope you will forgive me, Karen. So Karen is a proven turnaround CEO with a 30-year track record in value creation, energizing teams, creating vibrant cultures, and consistently delivering business growth and success. She is former UK president of WPP, the world's largest marketing services group, where she was directly responsible for driving growth in WPP's second largest market at 13,000 people and managing a revenue of $2 billion. In 2014, Karen topped the power list, being the first businesswoman to come in at number 1. That's not where she started. There's a lot more since 2014. As a long-term champion of the creative industry, Karen was a non-executive director for Creative UK and also was appointed race equality champion for business by the Prime Minister Theresa May in 2018. She went on to found the Black Equity Organisation in 2021. And in 2022 was appointed the non-executive director for Diageo. Karen has been awarded honorary doctorates from the University of Portsmouth, South Bank University, Reading University, Ravensbourne University, and is a fellow of the King's College London. And I can't even stop there, because in 2024, Karen was awarded Freedom of the City of London and received a CBE for services to the advertising and creative industries in the 2025 New Honours list. And just hot off the press, Karen has just recently joined the board of the British Fashion Council, and you can tell because Karen is incredibly well turned out. And in June 25 was appointed the non-executive director at the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. Wow. Karen, that is your bio, and that's pretty impressive.
We finished.
Yeah, that's it. We don't
I'm
say
definitely
anymore.
not doing enough. I was proud of digging my pond. But, well, welcome, Karen. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being
brilliant.
here. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for being
Yeah,
here.
no, it's really, thank you. for being
And
here.
I think like we always ask our guests, just for those couple of people out there that don't know who you are, to summarise your career in 60 seconds. We've almost always failed, so don't worry.
Don't worry.
You know,
You can have a little bit longer.
but just to give us sort of an overview, start to finish, and then we go back over and dig into
Perfect.
someone else.
Yeah.
So I am a media girl. So started in the industry as a direct response media planner buyer back at what was CIA, which became Wavemaker.
Yes.
So that was in the early 90s. Moved through the industry, going from direct response to planning and buying. Moved to Zenith, where I looked after BT. So I think BT was the only planning account that the
Yes.
buying
What year
agency
was that?
had.
'Cause
That was 95, I think. 95.
Yeah, because we were talking about that, because we were both at
Because I
Zenith.
started.
I think we lasted a bit longer than you at Zenith.
Just by a decade or so.
Yeah.
So then left Zenith, went to what was the media business. And then I think that's where I found my home. So the media business became Mediacom, went through various phases of, media manager, planner, director. New business was my sweet spot. So that's where I really knew business and marketing. Then became Chief Operations Officer for Europe, Middle East and Africa. Then came back to become CEO of the UK. Then moved from Mediacom into WPP. So the first ever president of the UK. So that was back in 2018, appointed by Martin.
Yeah.
Then went on to jointly be CEO of Group M and the WPP role during 2020.
Yeah,
Not
so
too much on
COVID.
there,
So
no?
2 roles.
Yeah.
Why have one? We can have 2 roles in COVID.
Absolutely. Double hatting. That was the way forward with WPP.
yeah.
Double hatting. And then whilst I was doing all of that, I've always had other roles outside of media and advertising, just because that's where I really learnt and could bring things into my day job, my exec job. So I was told by my dad a long time ago, learn, earn, serve. So always make sure you learn your craft, earn your money and give back. So started working with the government in 2014, 2015 in different roles. Creative UK, because wanted to learn about the whole of the creative industry, not just our bit of it. So non-exec for Creative UK for 10 years. And then other roles then came through that. So I've always done other bits alongside my
And
day
the
job.
government, was that something you felt was a good route towards being able to give back, or did they come to you? How did that?
That started with one of 4 external advisors to the civil service, helping diversify the civil service. And that was one where they came to me.
Right.
So it was myself focused on race. It was Helena Morrissey, who at the time was the president of the 30 Club. She was focused on gender. It was Stephen Frost that focused on LGBTQ+, and Lord Holmes that was disability. So it was the 4 of us working with the civil service, with, God rest his soul, Jeremy Hayward, who sort of headed up the civil service. And then from there, other roles came. So once your name's on a roller deck. So from there, I then became a business ambassador for the Department of Trade, looking after the creative industry. So I'd promote the UK creative industries externally to try and help foreign direct investment or to help our companies export. And then from there, it then was the Cabinet Office that then came in 2017? 2018, because I did that exiting the EU and during the pandemic.
God, Brexit as well.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm exhausted.
It must have been fascinating to be, seeing how the wheels of power, as they say, turn.
It absolutely was, and I really genuinely believe that more people in the private sector should do more to work with government, because they need to hear and understand what we need as business people, and we're all in the business of growth. And by, I think, tag teaming more and partnering more, you can sort of help. And I love Brand Britain. I love the UK, and it's about trying to help the UK grow. So I just think more of us should use our expertise to try and help the country that we've all built our careers in.
No, I agree. And I want to start, actually, if we may, with you. So you grew up in Reading with Barbadian parents.
Yeah.
And I love that you said, we've heard that, we have heard that the learn, earn and serve is a great, I was going to say, is there anything else that you learned from your childhood that you've taken through the way that you lead and operate today? I've heard you say, I say it, 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yeah.
Is a very good one.
And my son is so sick of hearing it. I remember I was very fortunate to know Doreen Lawrence, and we were at a celebration of, well, it's not a celebration, but marking the anniversary of Stephen Lawrence's death. And her son Stuart was sort of talking in the cathedral that we were in the church that we were in. And he was standing there and he was saying, I heard from my mum and dad, they always said to me, 2 ears, 1 mouth. And Isaac was with me. He just turned and looked at me. And when it's a Caribbean thing. But it's literally listen. And I don't think enough leaders listen.
We don't. We don't.
I
don't
listen
no,
to really hear. And I talk about the whispers in the noise. You've got to hear the whispers in all the noise to really understand what you can do, how you can set direction, and how you can help. So you're absolutely right. That is something that I often repeat.
Yeah.
But also, my mum and dad both said to me, you're going to be one of few wherever you go. So they were very conscious of the fact, they came here in 1961 at the age of 19, having left an island where they were the majority. And coming to a country which was much bigger, where they were a significant minority. And they sort of said, look, you've got to celebrate your difference. You be really conscious of the fact that you're probably going to be the only woman in a room, or you're going to be the only black person in a room. You're not going to be able to blend. You're not going to be able to blend in. Don't blend. Get comfortable.
Add something.
Get comfortable being memorable.
Well, I mean, that's a good place to start, because I'm guessing certainly from mid-90s, the media industry was basically white and quite male. And now we talk a lot about, and we had Rat Patel on the show and we were asking him, by the way.
You're his number one mentor.
He was telling a story about how you helped guide him on a particular topic. But we talk so much about belonging now. And I wonder, back then, obviously they weren't talking about it in that way, but how did it feel like being in the industry then as a minority? And
Do you know what? I remember I started at CIA, and I remember there were 3 black people in the entire agency. And at the time, CIA must have been the 3rd biggest. So probably about 400, 500 people. I don't know.
Oh, God,
it felt huge. And that seems tiny, but 400, 500 people. And I remember it was Colin Gillespie was my boss, and it was Michelle on reception, and it was me.
Wow.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So, and I remember for some unknown reason in my career, I became the person that was good at automotive. So I did a lot of car brands.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of luxury watches as well.
Nice.
All
Cars
quite
and watches.
Male.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you'd go to the, What Car Awards.
I know I worked well.
imagine.
I worked
And
at
it was
MG
like-
Rover. Yeah.
It's like the only women there had sashes on, were on the bonnets of the
Oh,
car
yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And you didn't see anybody of colour. So it was noticeable. It was noticeable. And I'd grown up in Reading, which is mini Barbados.
Yeah.
And I talk about a lot about, you know, a fruit salad being the norm. You had lots of people from different places,
Yeah.
and that was the
Yeah.
norm. And media wasn't like that at the time. It really
Yeah.
wasn't. Media was better than ad agencies
Yeah, then the
because you
creative
had
side.
working class, more working class.
Yeah.
So you had more social mobility in the media
Mm.
agencies than you did in the ad agencies at the time. But it was noticeable. But what I found, and I say this a lot when I moved to media business in particular, I found my tribe because it was, and I talk about it, people that were hungry but humble. So hungry to succeed. So I think media business weren't even in the top 10 of agencies, but hungry to show and prove, make a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I found an agency where actually people's weaknesses and strengths were complementary.
Yeah.
Everybody wasn't good at everything,
Yeah.
but we complemented each other.
But that was a common thread also, that ambition and the hunger
Totally.
to
Yeah. You're
succeed.
united in that.
Yeah,
In that
totally.
hunger.
And I remember when media business merged with Mediacom, which was owned by Grey, and I remember the headline which Claire Beale wrote, which was "Grey by name, grey by nature."
Oh.
And there's nothing like a bit of negative PR.
Oh, yeah.
To
As a
spur
bit
you
of
on.
fuel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, right, we've got a point to prove.
So did you feel then that was that your first sense of belonging then, do you think? Like
Totally.
Yeah.
I loved when I loved CIA Direct, so because that was a small part of a bigger agency, and that's where I first met Claudine.
Yes.
So many years ago, I've known Claude.
Well, Claude got you over to the media
Yes,
business,
she
didn't
did.
she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was hating it at
I was
Zenith.
going to say, don't say it,
Yeah.
Senna. Go to, yeah. Actually, I think when Claude came on, I think
Yeah,
she
she
had.
mentioned it.
She said that you're one of her successors of successful hires.
It's so
Is what she
true.
said.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
so true.
amazing. And when you talk about, I suppose you all spurring each other on and kind of having each other's backs in a way.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about mentors. Are there because like when you're going through those, I suppose like, you know, a bit of adversity and a bit of the tough times, who did you like? Did you have specific mentors you turned into that time?
So I'd say within the agency, and I talk about this a lot, that don't just restrict the people that you talk to the industry that you're in.
Yeah.
So I had lots of people outside of the advertising industry because as a black woman in the industry, there wasn't anyone I could turn to get advice as a black woman.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
Yeah.
So outside of the industry, people that, you know, had had to forge their own path in whatever industry they were in, that's who I sort of turned to
Right.
understand what should I do, how should I behave. Within the industry, look, Sue Uniman, I adore, and I spent a lot of time with Sue. Her partner Mark, her husband Mark Edwards as well. You know, journalist, brilliant at sort of marketing and writing. I'd turn to him a lot for advice. Nick Lawson, I think we bonded. He was like my older annoying brother.
Yeah.
But we bonded because we're both incredibly competitive.
Yeah.
Incredibly
That
competitive.
drive and hunger.
And we both used to play sport. So that was definitely a common theme. There was lots of people that are failed sports people that were at media business, and that working as a team and
that
winning
high
as a
performance.
team,
Yeah.
definitely there. Definitely
Actually,
there.
we should touch on that because you were you're almost Olympian. Say like,
I think that's an exaggeration.
well, an athlete.
I was an athlete. I'm a failed runner.
Well,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
and that actually that drive and that I suppose
Focus.
focus.
And
yeah.
it's about training as well.
Yeah.
So training to win.
Yes. Don't just wing it. You can't just turn up on this track
No,
and wing
you've
it, can
got
you?
to train to win.
Yeah.
And you've got to plan and you've got to focus and you've got to practice. And again, when I was in a sort of new business and marketing role, a lot of that came into it. It's about the pitch team spending time together. You win as a team.
Yeah.
You plug each other's gaps. You perform as a team.
Yeah.
And that becomes sort of like a gang that other people want to join.
Yeah.
And you could see that clients want to join.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that looks
the
fun.
energy. Yeah, it's the energy,
is
isn't
there.
it? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And your so for mentorship, it makes sense that you look to different places for that. I guess that you also need sponsors of sometimes to help people's careers, and we always ask people about the importance of getting finding mentors. It doesn't have to be one, but also sponsorship. Was there, and we're obviously the most famous of all with Sir Martin or for any of those. Did you have those in your career, or
without a doubt? Look, I would not be where I got to in the industry without Nick Lawson and Stephen Allen. I really wouldn't, and that's because they knew how I worked.
Yeah.
They knew what I was capable of. They know what to expect when they put me in a team or put me in a position.
Yeah.
And they advocated for me for the Group M role and the WPP role because they knew that I'd got to a point where I need to move on from Mediacom.
Yeah.
And they'd rather I moved on within the group than elsewhere. And so they absolutely advocated for me.
And I think it's like the difference between a mentor and a sponsor is that somebody's going to speak for you when you're not in the room.
Absolutely.
And I think it is about actually having, and the only way you can get to that is if you
they
put
know
your
how
hand
you
up.
work.
Well, if you put your hand up to, so I always say yes to as many things as you can for as long as you can, because there will become a point in your life where there's different pressures, but just get involved, work on that pitch, work on that project, put your hand up.
And that's what I always said to my team, especially the WPP role, where it was the first time that sort of presidency role had existed in the UK. We're a heads up team. When people walk into our area of the office, it's heads up, how can you help?
Yeah.
Because it's then getting involved. It's then people will bring you in.
Yeah.
And you saw, there's some people in departments, it's heads down, don't
Oh,
make
don't
eye
look up.
contact.
Yeah.
Don't make eye contact. You don't want to, where it's like, you're a heads up, how can I help?
Yeah.
And your job was to make other people look good.
Yeah.
It's not about you, and you'll look good yourself from doing that.
Yeah.
So you're a heads up team.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about when you used to work in new business, and you'd probably walk around Zenith going, who can I get to come
Well,
on
we
this
were
pitch?
doing so badly that no one wanted to work on any
Marco's coming. Marco, head down, Marco's coming.
never
Karen
knowing
was
hit
always
target
everybody's
during that
heads
period.
Karen.
I blame the strategists. But no, and it's interesting because one of the things that I've done a bit is to speak to schools and talking to kids.
I love speaking
for many
to
many
schools,
years, and I did a bit of non-exec for them as well. I found myself sort of questioning at one point whether or not the philosophy of hard work was now not the right thing to say, because there's so much pressure at work about don't be working at weekends, don't work out of hours, don't But I've sort of we've just heard it over and over. And I sort of came back round to it myself, which is there is no substitute if people want to progress in organisations. Hard work is always part of that. Sensible hard work. We're not doing it, but hard work and putting your hand up. There's no substitute for it.
Your career, like your life, is not meant to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be easy. It is going to have times where it is really challenging. But I think that's where you learn about yourself as well. So I say that to the students at Portsmouth in the graduation speeches. Your life is not meant to be easy. Your career is not going to be easy. You're going to have lots of twists and turns. And every time you come to a blockage in the road, look up, look around, take a different route.
Yeah.
And I genuinely believe that you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think all of us have put in some hard graft.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've, benefited from it.
Yeah, hard graft is, you can't get away from it, like you say. But I think it's also that if you're not feeling a little bit uncomfortable, then you're not growing.
Yeah.
There is a bit of, if you're just in a very safe zone, where's the learning, where's the growing? When it actually leads us very, very well into, and I think you were prepared for the question around, is there a moment of one of those biggest fuck up times, or when something really went, oh God, the shit's really hit the fan now? Can you think of any?
And I
how did
don't
you
want to
learn?
be.
How
I
did you
don't want to
learn?
be a cliche and go, "Oh, there's so many," but there are so many. It's literally, it's when you lose a client, when you cock up a pitch.
Yeah.
And you literally, and that again, that was one of the things when you're an athlete and you don't get the personal best time that you wanted, or you don't qualify to go into the nationals or whatever it is, you analyze what it is that you could have done better. So I've had a lot of time whenever we didn't win a pitch or we lost a client, you do a analysis of it.
yeah.
You do a reflection of it. What could have been better?
Yeah.
And I just remember the one that I felt most uncomfortable with, and it wasn't a fuck up, so I'm slightly re-articulating the question, was when, and I do talk about this a lot actually, when we were pitching for a well-known brand. I'm not even going to say any more than that actually.
Yeah, that'll do.
A well-known brand, and we didn't win it. And we'd got down to the final two. So, it's the bridesmaid, not the bride syndrome.
Yeah.
And I remember the agency that won it, and I was the account director at the time. So I was the account director that was sort of leading the pitch. And I remember the account director in the winning agency I knew of. I didn't know well, but I had someone that knew them really well. And they took the clients out to dinner, asked what I would have done. You use it as a bit of competitive analysis to find out what everyone else did, because that's the only way you can find out. Or did everyone else pitch? And I remember the two clients said to this person, who was a bloke, who said, the media business were really good. Actually, they were quite good, but there's no way we would have had a black woman as our a woman, let alone a black woman as our account director.
No.
Oh my God.
And I remember at the time thinking I'd lost the agency the pitch because of my gender and because of my
God,
race.
I hope they
instead of just-
no, we don't want that client. We do not want to work with that client.
Exactly. But that's how I went through the guilt of I've lost X amount of income
Well,
for the
especially,
agency.
and also the team, because as you say, it's the team.
Yeah.
And you all play your
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
And you thought, if you were like the...
If it wasn't me, if someone else had led it, then maybe we would have won it. And then you get angry.
Well,
I
yeah.
was going to say, yeah.
Because then you get angry and it's like, and then you get really bitter.
Yeah.
And you've got to, and that's the other thing, you've just got to let it go, because things will happen which you've got no control of. I've got no intention of changing my race or gender. I'm very happy with both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you get angry and you can end up with a chip on your shoulder.
Well,
you really could.
Yeah.
Thinking that everybody's like that, that everybody's going to have an issue with my race or my gender. But you've got to let it go.
But also, what's brilliant for people listening in that story, and younger people who might find themselves in that, is now, obviously, if you heard something like that, you would just, you go straight to anger and probably do something about it. Frankly,
You'd call it out. You'd call it out.
At least maybe if someone's listening who's sort of in that they can fast forward to take your confidence now and sort of think, well, that's just not acceptable.
It's not okay.
We'd like to think it's not acceptable now, but I'm sure stuff goes on.
I'm sure stuff still happens, but I think you're right. There'll be more people that would call it out.
Yeah.
And I do believe in karma as well. So those two individuals left this particular brand and not of their own accord within 12 months.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe in karma.
I believe in karma. I do.
So it wasn't a fuck up in terms of I'd done something wrong, but I felt as though I'd fucked up. I felt guilty. I felt as though I'd lost revenue. But you're right, it's not the sort of client I would have spent all of my time trying to please two people.
Oh God,
that
they're not worth your, not
just,
even worth the
but
air
just,
that you breathe, are they?
I wouldn't have had to do anything. It would have been wrong.
Yeah.
It would have been wrong.
Yeah, even worse, you win the client, right?
Exactly
in
right.
some respects.
Exactly right.
And I think, like you said, we have come a long way from that. And one of my questions is around, because clearly you are such a champion for race equality and social mobility. So we kind of touched on them both. But through the organisations and businesses that you work with, is there a single piece of, I suppose, action or change that has worked to make organisations more inclusive? Is there a single thing, if you could say, look, this is powerful if you do this in your organisation, or this is what I've seen work in organisations being more inclusive? Is it schemes? Is it like, I mean, you know, I know you did the apprenticeship scheme for
I don't
social
think there's
mobility.
one thing.
Is
I
it
think,
culture?
I think you have to. I don't think there's one thing. There has to be multiple things. You don't want initiative overload because you then don't know what's working and what's not. But I don't think it's ever one thing. I think there has to be an awareness from. It has to come from the top and the middle, and also from grassroots.
Yeah.
It can't just be, you know, the CEO wanting something, because that is when you get a blockage somewhere. If the rest of the management team aren't following suit and don't believe, you get a blockage, and you get a toxic culture then as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think there is one thing. I do think what is really important is for that management team to make sure they're hanging out with people different to them and spending proper time with people different to them. So June Sarpong, who is a good friend, she sort of wrote the book Diversify.
Yes.
And she talks about check your circle. So who are the last 4 people that you spoke to get advice from or to share good news?
Yeah.
If they're exactly the same as you in terms of educational background, gender, race, you're not doing anything to help diversify a culture. You're creating a clique.
Yeah.
So hang out with people, get advice from people, listen to people who are different from you.
I like that a lot.
And I think that's really important
Yeah.
for any management team.
And also going back to your listening piece.
Yeah.
Like actually be interested in what would your advice be on this? And
Exactly right.
And it can't come from the top. As you say, it has to
come
permeate the whole
everywhere,
organisation, doesn't
and
it?
then and the team will tell you this as well, my old team, every decision-making board that I chaired, I would always rotate the chair. So that even though it was my board I'd rotate who chairs it so that they can collate the agenda, that they can make sure that, you know, we've got different voices and focuses. The one thing that would always be on the agenda as a rolling recurring item is something called BOTI. So I never did AOB, I had BOTI, which is better out than in.
Yeah.
So that is your forum. Anything that's on your chest,
Yeah.
get it out in this room when we're all together as a team. I really believe in a sense of team.
Yeah.
And teams are broken from within. So if there's anything you want to get off your chest, get it out in this forum, in this room. Don't bitch about it outside.
Don't let it fester.
Don't bitch about it outside.
And the amount
because
of
that
energy
happens so often,
well, it's
doesn't
the
it?
energy that's spent in the wrong place. Just thinking we should have a botty. Better out than although just news, nothing else. Better out than
But I think that's a reflection on what you're prepared to hear as well, because there are leaders who don't want to hear it. Right? You need that. Whoever's leading needs to be comfortable hearing if people do want to have a bit of a, and not take it as a personal slant or a criticism or if you're going to do
there's stuff I heard that I didn't want to hear.
But
but I needed to hear it.
Yeah, you do need to hear it. It's not always comfortable, but sometimes you do.
And saves time, saves a lot of time, doesn't it? It's like,
well, it just, you're right, because it just, I just think from a culture point of view, when there's a divide in your top team, it permeates everything. It really does.
That's great.
I did a thing at Spotify where they asked all my direct reports to do quite an in-depth analysis of how they felt the team was going, the group, our group, not the wider team. And I had to sit down and read all this stuff, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, but it's
but you've got to hear it.
It's constructive. If it's constructive versus
constructive.
Bitch fest. There's a reason, but let's talk about that now. So I'm sure you've got positives and negatives, Mark, and that's fine.
We all hope. And now the sort of the discussion around inclusion has come under attack, obviously in recent months. How do you feel the industry's doing? Like, where do you think the industry is on the journey at the moment? And
look, I really genuinely hope that we don't knee-jerk back 15 years.
Yeah.
Because any form of change, any form of progression takes resource in terms of people and money. Yeah. And look, when the industry is under pressure in terms of margins, it's easy to cut programs and schemes. It really is. Yeah. But hopefully you're not doing it just for, altruistic reasons. The end game to all of this is about performance.
Well, it's business growth.
It's
isn't it?
about
Yeah.
performance,
Yeah.
and it's about growth.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't cut certain things from your P&L, which can deliver growth. So this is something you might have to reduce the amount that you spend, in the same way that you reduce on other areas, but it is still a key part of any P&L.
Yeah.
And I genuinely hope that agencies still see it as a way to grow, not a nice to have or good to have or the right thing to have.
Well, especially in our
I'm not
business,
sure how many do though.
Well, but that's really short sighted because we don't sell widgets or things. We sell people and their talent and their creativity. So our number one asset is our people in our industry. So if you don't invest in your people, then how are you going to grow?
But the number of times where I remember when I first was appointed in the WPP role, and behind your backs, people were saying, well, it's only because she's a black woman. They needed to make the diversity hire. It's like, I don't care if you say that, because I'm just going to show you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. But the number of times I'd then have to have conversations with CEOs of some of the agencies and talk about, we've got to do more to bring more creativity into our agencies, into our business. And it's like, have we tried looking for different types of people from different backgrounds, from different areas? We keep going back to the same, we almost had an Oyster card between us and BBH because we kept recruiting people from BBH and vice versa. And it's like, surely there's bigger pools of talent. We can look elsewhere. And I just remember so many leaders sort of saying, well, don't we want the best people?
What the best?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, the best is
indeed we do.
Yeah.
But there was this. Well, the best people can't be people that aren't white, who aren't men, who aren't from. That was what was being said but not said.
Yeah,
and it's
and
like
that must be. But how do you? There must be a temptation to be quite sort of combative against that kind of.
You can't.
Did you do that, or did you?
I'd be exhausted.
Did you have to sort of navigate around
I'd be
it all?
exhausted.
Well, you can't educate all of them. It's like you educate yourself. We're serving the UK population, which is not male, middle class.
It's what you end up doing, and what I ended up doing is you just work and focus on those that wanted to join the party.
Yeah.
And you just end up, okay, these guys are all in. What we're going to do, we're going to do it together. And then magic happens. And then suddenly everybody wants to join. Everybody else wants to be part of it. So you just end up having to, I can't convert you to Jesus. I'm just literally going to focus on those that really want to, we're all in. Let's give it a try. What else can we do? And then you see where you start to win, and then people then coming along to the party late. And you're welcome. You can arrive late, you're still welcome.
Yeah. And I think it is that welcoming bit. But it's because I was listening to another podcast that you did, and it's interesting because you talked about, well, when I went into a new company and it needed a turnaround and a completely different reset, and I had quite an established leadership team. So my reference was Jack Kerouac on the road from the Merry Pranksters, because he was like, are you on the boss or you're off the boss? And it was a bit like, look, we are going to change as an agent. Are you on the bus or off us? But I loved your bit because you added to that. Do you want to tell you're on the bus, off the bus?
Are you at the bus stop?
Yes, I like that. You see, I should have done that. I was like, I was like a bit more ruthless. Are you on the bus or off the bus? That's all I want to know.
Sometimes you might just need to get off and be at the bus stop for a little bit.
So I did like that bit. Or are you on the top deck?
Yeah, you're on the top deck, or are you in the right seat on the top deck? It's just so that without it becoming too confrontational, people had a way of, or language to sort of go, I'm not quite with this, I'm not sure, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I like that. I'd take that. I would take that on. I love that.
And I'm just, because I know we don't talk about it so much in some of the questions we're asking, but to go back to that point where you are a leader of 13,000 people in that role, like, what was that like? What was the reality of what kept you up at night when you sort of that kind of...
You never know what 13,000 people are doing at any one time.
Yeah.
But look, I had a really good UK board, which was made up of 13, 14 UK CEOs that sort of were about 65-70% of the revenue for the UK. And so I spent a lot of time with that UK board, and I was accessible to those CEOs. And that's the way that you end up being able to lead 13,000 people, because you find your crew of people that trust you and you trust them. And look, there were a couple of people that weren't always on the bus.
Yeah.
There are a couple of people that probably shouldn't have been on the bus. But that, look, it was, you don't think about the size because it's a small team of people that you're leading. And that's how I always, you break it down into the team that you're immediately leading.
Didn't you have like over 100, like obviously you had the 13 CEOs, didn't you have then over 100 CEOs
I remember
and MDs, whatever?
I remember my very first, when I was going to present the strategy, when I first came in, and it was literally, I will never forget this. It was April 2018. So I'd been appointed and I'd been appointed in 2017, towards the end of 2017. I started Jan 2018, and I had a date set for a UK breakfast to present the strategy in terms of how we were going to lead, how we were going to work, how we were going to grow in the UK. And I remember I had a really small immediate team in terms of the WPP UK team. Georgia Lindsay, who's still there, Lisa Humphreys, who's still there, who I adore. So it was a really small team. And I remember going off to Barbados, like, right, I'm going to have because Barbados is where I feed my soul. So I'm going to go back to Barbados, quick break, back, and present the strategy. And I remember my phone going in the middle of the night, thinking, and because of the time difference, thinking, who the hell is ringing me? Looking at it, don't recognise the number. I was like, what was going on? Picked up the phone. It must have been about 3 a.m. It was the Telegraph newspaper. I'm like, what the? Martin had gone.
Oh.
So I remember this UK breakfast changed slightly in terms of the strategy presentation, because Mark and Andrew, who were made interims co-CEOs, I was like, well, you two are going to have to come to this breakfast, because it was 110.
Too many questions.
110. It was 110 leaders that we had across WPP in the UK at the time. So it was 110 people that were coming to this breakfast. So the first hour was slight change in plan.
Yeah. Oh my
you could
Lord.
argue perfectly organised.
You disseminate the information very, very quickly. Yeah. And when you because obviously was it 3 decades at WPP? When you
29 years.
Yeah, when you
it was
I suppose from media business when it then was. But when you stepped away, how did you manage that transition? Because obviously it's such a big part of your life. Did you just feel relief that now you can get on with the other stuff in your life, or a sense of loss, or a bit of both? How did that feel, that transition?
I absolutely grieved.
Right.
I really did grieve. And I remember knowing when the LinkedIn and the press release was going to come out that I was leaving. I remember timing my own LinkedIn posts. I did a timed post so that it would come out and I'd turn my phone off.
Right, because I'd bombarded
and
with
I'd known
messages.
for ages that I was going, because I think I'd resigned October 20... What year are we in?
25.
No, I resigned October 23. We didn't get to an agreement until Feb 24.
Right.
And then I knew the post was going to come out at the end of, the announcement was going to come out end of Feb 24.
Right.
So I'd had to keep
you'd sat
quiet.
with it. I bet people said, you get that quiet.
I had to keep it quiet.
Yeah.
And I didn't need, and I'd got to terms with it, and I didn't need to take on everybody else's grief.
Well, yeah.
So I turned my phone off. It was just, so I grieved, because it had been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
It really had. And, friends for life I'd met during my time at, different WPP agencies. So I really had to grieve. But then you come out the other end, and you're able to do more.
Well, there's so much more.
And I genuinely feel happier because there
Yeah.
was things that were going on towards the end which I didn't necessarily believe with the direction of travel. I didn't
Yeah.
feel as though I could be on the bus,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
needed to be at the bus
Yeah.
stop for a very long
Yeah.
time.
Until
Not
the
getting
right
back
bus
on
came
the bus.
on. Yeah, yeah.
So it was just, and when you feel that tension and conflict, I've never wanted to be a drain, always a radiator,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
could
one of
feel
your
myself
favourite
becoming a
phrases.
drain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could feel myself becoming a
Yeah,
drain.
yeah. And that's
So
not
it
good
was
for your
time
own
to
mental
go.
health, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a business performance, but there's also a health and mental wellness, and
Totally.
and actually, and also I think more as you get older, you've always seemed to have had a strong purpose, but actually, how do you put that purpose into even more
Yeah.
action? Whereas it's very hard to do that when
Yeah.
you're running massive organisations. But yeah, I can definitely.
But it does take. I mean,
Yeah.
it's we're talking to people all the time as part of the TheZoo.London who have coming out of long careers and moving into more sort of consulting fractional type roles. But there is that. I think people underestimate. It does take a while
It
to
does.
come out of.
It's a grieving period.
You're
It's that-
defined.
yeah.
Sometimes you're defined by your job a little bit, and you don't realise it.
The lucky thing, I'd always done stuff
Yeah, you've
outside
always-
of
yeah,
my
you
yeah.
job.
always,
So
fair.
there'd always been other things going on
Yeah.
rather than that being
Yeah.
the sole thing. But it was still a grieving
Yeah,
period. It really
'cause
was.
it's a long.
But the
it's-
next chapter is always about, for me, my next chapter is about what gives me joy and what can I continue to learn. And also continue to challenge myself as well, because I do like a challenge.
Yeah, well, it goes back to your dad's thing, doesn't it? Of like learn, earn, serve.
Yeah.
You still seem to be, because actually that's another thing we discussed this morning. Actually, that we do a little menagerie breakfast with the TheZoo.London, and we talk about actually as you get older, purpose does become a bit more important. Who you work with almost becomes a bit more important. And then, but that thirst for learning and curiosity, I think even more, because for such a long time, actually, when you are in your big corporate job, yes, you're learning, but God, I learned more in the past 2 years with Marco than I had in, 2 years in an agency. It's a different, when you're out there doing different things, I think we have that thirst for curiosity and learning
totally.
even more as you get older.
But when you look back now on that bit of your career, because we know it's not over and won't be for a while, did you ever have a sort of, for handling, because I think a lot of people listen, they go, shit, that just sounds like stress, that sounds like, what was your way of coping with that? Did you have any sort of work hacks or anything that you employed to keep yourself, on top of things?
So look, I'm a single mum to a soon-to-be 16-year-old boy. And God, I mean, it's been me and him since he was 5 months old.
Yeah.
So my focus outside of the office has always been him.
Yeah.
And how do I sort of manage stress? It is being all in with stuff with him. So, I mean, and Isaac will tell you, it's, I'm one of the few mums on the side of the rugby pitch shouting louder than most of the dads.
Oh, my son tells me off for that.
And mine also. But it's that for me has always been a big way of managing whatever's going on, giving it context.
Puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely giving
100%.
it context, because you're only as happy as your unhappiest child.
100%,
Yeah.
So it gives you context.
Yeah.
So that's always helped. And then look, a period where I really wasn't happy at WPP towards the end, the realisation I wasn't doing sport anymore. And that's a big part of, now I'm all in, I'm back doing all my sport again. So whether that's gym work, whether that's running, it's literally being able to be active and not just sat
It's
at a
such
desk
an important release, isn't
and
it?
that for me is really important.
Yes.
And at my peak, when I was CEO of MediaCom, I would still get in my gym sessions. I'd still get in something that made me really physically active because it's important for me. So that's an important release for me, being physically active.
I think it's interesting because I think some people think, you have to, do loads of running or it's just do something, isn't it? I think it is so important. I remember we had Steve King on a few months ago now, and I always remember wherever we were in the world, if we went to CS, or he would always fit in some exercise.
I pack my skipping rope.
Yeah.
So
always.
even if I can't get to a gym,
Yeah.
Just
I've
do
got my
something.
skipping rope and my resistance bands,
Yeah.
and I'm doing something.
Yeah, and also I think again, it's not just about the physical fitness; it's mental. It's
It's
mental
the-
fitness.
yeah,
it is, and I think you
totally.
just feel better for it, don't you? We are going to be coming out. We are going to be probably about 5 more minutes, but I was going to ask you about what advice you give to young people, but I think you've said that already when you speak to the students. So I actually want to ask: would you give if you were to go back to say yourself at 25? Is there a piece of wisdom that you would give her that you know now?
Never trust a man with more than 2 mobile phones.
Oh, right, that's a good one. Oh.
More than 2, is it? Not just 2.
Oh, not just the 2. That's a good one. That's a good piece of advice. That's...
What would I get? My 25-year-old self. Well, I think it's what we said earlier, and I think I have done that. It's that network outside of your day job. Because you never know who you're going to meet, and then through those people where magic can happen. And networking always sounds a bit grubby, but it's not. It's literally, you've got to nurture your network. So you give as much as you take.
Yeah.
And I think that's, if I think about my network, there's politicians, there's musicians, there's DJs, there's actors, there's business people, it needs to be broad, because magic happens, and that's where I get my stimulus from. So
you throw a good party, don't you? You do throw a good party. So that's when you bring your network in.
But that, I definitely say it to my 20-year-old self. But also, I would really I'd really focus as well on, don't just focus on the UK. That there is so much. The world is so big, and that's what there's one thing that I wish I'd done earlier, it is working globally earlier.
Yeah.
Just because you learn so much from other markets, whereas sometimes we can be a bit arrogant in the UK, thinking that it's
for a very small island, we can
be incredibly arrogant, thinking we do everything brilliantly here, whereas actually there are markets which, I remember thinking, Jesus, they're really good at econometrics in Hungary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's great in Eastern Europe. And stuff that you can... So that's the thing. It's literally go global when you can. Don't just think
that's
about
why they get
the
annoyed
UK.
with all, the Brits and the Americans popping into their countries and telling them how it is. It's
know.
There's just so much good work goes on across there. It's really just about how you piece it all together.
Cross-pollinate.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's really important. Cross-pollinate, pull in things that you learn from outside your market or outside your industry. Pull in things that you learn.
Lovely.
Well,
Wow.
Karen, thank you very much. That's been
It's
incredible.
been-
Do you know what though?
Time's
Actually,
flown.
I'm going to say times
Have you
have
got
flown.
one more?
Well, only one more, because obviously your son Isaac is your world. When you describe your work to him, or what does he think? Or what do you think he thinks of Mummy? That wasn't my question, but that's what I've just asked now. So.
Literally, Isaac could go on and give speeches.
Oh.
If I was unable to make a speaker gig, I think Isaac could go on and do it for me. He's heard... I remember during lockdown as well, he must have been 9 or 10 during lockdown. At 10, I think. And so we were literally a table like this. He'd be one end with his headphones on doing schoolwork. I'll be the other end trying to do Group M and WPP. And he could always knew who I was talking. I won't mention any names of the people. He said, "Is that so and so?" I can tell. So he knows.
They always act like they're not listening, but they're always listening, aren't they?
He knew all the people that I had tension with. Let's put it that way.
That is good. And do you think he'll follow in your footsteps?
No.
I mean, I've got 2 daughters, and I just said, whatever you do, don't go into media. But anyway, one does chemistry.
I
and
think
doing
he wants
maths.
to do. I think he wants to be a sports lawyer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, whatever with a mum like you, he's going to be incredibly successful.
Well, he's his own person.
Got a good mentor.
Yeah, he has got a great mentor.
Yeah.
And on that, I think we can now finish, Marco, because I did want to just mention
Well, there was no
Isaac.
fancy ending, just to say thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It's been a
hugely
blast.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you
Pleasure.
very much, Karen.
That's all we've got time for. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. If you need a little more wisdom in your business, then be sure to come to the TheZoo.London for executive search and consulting support. Don't forget, we do love to hear about your mentor stories and advice. Find us on socials. All the links are in the programme notes.
And Mentor is a Viral Tribe entertainment production. Please do give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And please do join us next time for more pearls of wisdom from Mentor.